already knew Steph Curry because I grew up with him. Mario's been like an amazing person for me because it's crazy how I met Floyd because I was at NBA Summer League. There was a point where I had suicidal thoughts. I was just like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with any of this stuff anymore. One of the high schools here in Charlotte, like I saved 2 lives. All I need is a platform. I can figure out the rest. Keep God first and foremost. As long as you're being a good person to the people that you meet, everything else will fall into place. If you walk into a situation or a building, like you own it, nobody's gonna ask you any questions.
Welcome to another episode of the Deep Dive Podcast. I'm Raissa and we have...
And I'm Gloria.
And today's guest is KJ Ross. He's a sports manager, a scout, and a trainer who helped elite college athletes reach the NBA, the G League, and the Overseas League. He is the founder of KR3 Mental Health Plus Sports, an initiative that brings performance and wellness through events, therapy support, and community programs. Backed by many names like Floyd Mayweather and Mario Chalmers, KJ's mission is about impact beyond the game. Let's dive in.
Welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Yes, appreciate y'all having me.
So you have, traveled overseas. You've guided a lot of elite players in the NBA, the G League, and, a lot of different things. So what's the most misunderstood part of your journey?
The actual grind that I've put in over these past 5 years. Because, people see Instagram and they be like, oh, KJ, you're here, you're Vegas, you're LA, you're Miami, you're Texas, Houston. But they don't really see like what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
They just see the glitz and the glamour of the Instagram part. Because that's all I show.
Right.
So it's like, every question that I get is always, oh, KJ, where you going next? What you doing next? Or who you about to be with next? But it's never like, KJ, what did you do to get here? Like, what did it take for you to,
to get to that
get to where you are right now? So I think that's the most misunderstood part. And then it's, the ups and downs of it too.
Right.
Especially with me, doing the mental health stuff. It's like, I go through those days where it's like, man, I don't feel like being in the gym with anybody. Like, I don't even feel like talking to anybody. But, I get up and go because I see the joy that it puts in other people's eyes. But then when I see that, it's like, okay, like, this is why I do what I do.
Right.
So,
It motivates you.
Yeah, it motivates me. So I think that's the most understood part is the ups and the downs and the ins and outs. Yeah.
It's true because people, see the highlights of people's stories on Instagram and all of that, but they never really see the things that you do on the back end.
Right.
So it's good that, you're able to pinpoint that so people can also understand that, okay, it's not just you traveling, right, going to Vegas and hanging out with the NBA players and all of that.
Yeah.
You do some work behind the scenes that they don't see.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a lot that goes into it. It's because it's been plenty of times where I went to Texas. I was in Texas, Austin to be exact, for a pre-draft camp.
Okay.
I was out there for a month, and people saw, me just being in the gym. Like they just saw me, helping train the guys. There's one guy in the G League right now, Javante McCoy, and we have, a couple other guys that's overseas right now. But they didn't see where I had to give up my room at the house that we were staying at, and I was sleeping in a closet for.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
Like a legit closet. I had to put a bed in there, and I gave up my room and slept in the closet just so they could be
comfortable.
Yeah. So it's a lot that goes into it. I'm staying up half the night, making sure that they're good. If they need to go somewhere, if they want to go to the gym at 1 a.m., who has to drive them? Yeah,
you.
Me. I have to drive them. Who has to rebound? Me.
You.
Like, if there's nobody to put them through a workout, who has to put them through the workout? Me. So it's like there's a lot that goes into it other than just me being in these places.
Wow.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't even know all of that.
That's great because it helps us into like the next question that we had. You're a manager, you're a scout, you're a trainer, and all of that. How do you balance to make sure that these athletes still develop, out of court? How do you balance all of that?
It's not easy. I can say that. But as long as you have good people around you.
Okay.
Like I have a set core of friends that I've known since I was like 6 years old, who I literally just got off the lake with, fishing. As long as you have a good, core group of friends around you, I think that's a big key part. Also, just knowing your clients as well. knowing what they like, knowing what they don't like, you know, watching their film, and all of that. And so, like I tell people all the time, there's high school kids, you know, that you can train, but do you really know their game? Do you know how they are outside of the basketball court?
Right.
So they may have a bad day one day, and you may not know why. But you know, if you sit down and talk to these guys or girls, because I train girls as well,
Right.
and you can figure out like, okay, she wasn't shooting as good because of this, or she didn't have a good training day because of this.
Right. Right.
And then, you know, with the college kids that I train, I'm on the phone with their coaches. Like, I'm calling their coaches like, hey, what do they need to work on this summer? So I don't go in doing something that I'm, one, not supposed to be doing, or two, that they're not going to be doing, you know, while they're in school. So it's not easy to manage it, but it is easy at the same time. As long as you know what you're doing. You have people to bounce off of,
Right.
like other trainers, or you know, like I said, your core group of friends and stuff like that. As long as you have some people to talk to, and you know, you're sticking by that
That playbook,
regiment.
yeah.
You're sticking by that regiment.
You're good.
Smooth sailing.
Wow.
Okay.
So you're very involved, very hands-on.
Oh, very. Yeah, very. I don't like to have people, you know, wondering and thinking like, oh, what are we going to do in this workout, or does he actually know what he's doing, or you know, stuff like that. So
Right.
I make sure I do the background work before I do anything else. Like, because when people call me and be like, hey, can we train today? I'm like, okay, well, now if they're asking me to train the next day, I'm going back and looking at all their film to see what they
Okay.
did in their games and how I can either critique it or just fine tune it. So I'm not trying to change anybody's game or anything like that. And when it comes down to managing as well, like, you have to know what they like and what they don't like outside of basketball or football or whatever the sport that they play.
Okay.
So
Would you say your managerial style, are you like strict, or are you more laid back?
I'm laid back.
You're laid back?
I'm
Okay.
a real laid back
Yeah,
dude. Like,
yeah. You seem like a laid back person too.
yeah,
'Cause when I spoke to you, you were like, "I'm a man of a few words."
Oh,
And
Very,
Yeah.
very much so.
But
Because you don't want to overstep any boundaries when you're managing people.
Yeah.
So like, I'll if they want to go to the club, like, let's go to the club. Like, I'll go to the club with you.
but what if you're too laid back and then they
step
you
on
know,
your
they
toes?
step out of line, or they're no longer following because you guys are now like friends and
Well, see, that's where boundaries come in at.
okay.
You know, and then just having those conversations, like real deal conversations. And most of the time when I do talk to people that I, you know, manage or, you know, try to manage or anything like that, like,
Yeah.
we don't necessarily talk about basketball all the time.
Okay.
'Cause that's who, you know, I'm mostly around. Like, we don't talk about sports. Like, we talk about life. or
Life,
talk
yeah.
about if they got kids, we talk about kids, girlfriends, wives, whatever. I don't have any of that stuff, but, you know, we talk about it.
Yeah,
You know, we
yeah.
talk about it just so I can
Why
know
do you
who
say it like that? Like I don't have any.
Because I don't. It's been it's hard out here.
Your
in these
sister's
streets.
laughing in the background.
She's shaking her head too.
She knows.
She's like, "What's going on with
Nah,
that?"
She knows. But at the same time, she also don't allow nobody to get close either.
Ooh,
So I ain't gonna say-
protective.
I'm not gonna say she
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels' mama, but she's close to it. And all that,
Protective.
very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much so. But that's why when people ask me as well, like, you know, when you have kids, like, what do you want to have first? I want to have a girl first because of the way my sisters treated me. I have
Nice.
another sister as well, and because of the way they treated me, like, I want to have girls first. So that nothing is better than having a big sister.
Right.
Aw.
Yeah, that's true.
That's just how I feel about that.
We're both big sisters too.
Yeah,
So
we are.
We understand.
Yeah.
So
W big sister. So when I read your bio, I saw NIL. I don't really know what that means. And for people who may be watching who are not familiar with, you know, the terminology in the sports world, what does NIL mean, and why is it important for athletes?
it's name, image, and likeness. So back when I was playing sports,
Okay.
you couldn't get paid to play. Now these
Okay.
kids are getting paid to play. Like, if their name is on anything, they're getting paid for it. If their image is anywhere, they're getting paid for it. If they want to do any exclusive deals with a brand or
Okay.
anything, they can get paid for it. I'll give you one example. So I was in Vegas last summer. With
You
this-
love Vegas.
I'm not gonna no. I'm not gonna say I love Vegas, but it's growing on me. I can say that it's growing on me. But I don't go there to party or
It's business.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll be in that that casino a little bit, blackjack, roulette, stuff like that. But not going too crazy because I don't got that much money yet.
Yes.
But so I'll give you one example. So the agency that I was working with, should I say, we had a kid that signed with us while we were out in Vegas. I was out there in Vegas for 2 months doing pre-draft.
Wow.
So he was going through the process of transferring schools. And one of the schools that wanted to, sign him actually came to Vegas, watched him work out and everything like that. They offered him a scholarship.
Nice.
Along with that scholarship, they can offer you money as well. So they offer you incentives. Drawing a blank on the other word that I'm looking for. But they offered
Perks and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, perks. You can call it perks. But they offered him 1.5 to go to the school. That's just for
1.5.
Wait.
million. Yeah. Yes. You're getting kids that's signing to colleges for millions of dollars.
Jesus.
Like, there's a AJ Diabasta who's going to BYU right now. He's getting well over 5-6 million for
Holy
1
Ghost
year.
fire.
Yeah.
That's life-changing money.
Right. So that's what the NIL world is now. Don't get me wrong. Like there was definitely kids getting.
She's still shocked about that.
What's my younger brother doing at home? Like, what is he doing at home?
Yeah.
Because
But it's just not basketball either. Like football kids are getting that. Like there's girls on. I just watched a girl softball girl. I can't think of what school she goes to or what her name is, but she's getting $1 million to play softball. So. Yeah.
I can still,
If you got eligibility, I'll go back to
we don't
school.
know. I might be able to get in a little.
Yeah. If you got eligibility, I'll go back to school.
Wow.
For sure.
Huh.
But yeah, so that's what
That's
what
a really
NIL
good
is.
insight because a lot of people don't really know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like we're getting like firsthand insight into the sports and athlete world. So thanks for sharing that
Oh,
too.
yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
When I hear money.
It takes
But
you-
anyways, let's we'll talk about that later because my brother, I don't know what he's doing at home. Anyways, so what was that aha moment that made you start KR3?
It wasn't even an aha moment. It was a very sad moment.
Sad.
Back in 2020, I was going through a lot. I had just broken up with me and my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, separated at the time. Also, I was working a job full-time, had a part-time job as well.
Okay.
Had my own apartment. And this agency called me and was like, hey, we want you to, work with us. They were actually recruiting my nephew, my sister's oldest son, to try to come sign with the agency. So the first person that they called was me because they knew I was the closest one to him outside of his parents. So they called me. They was like, man, what can we do to get Tashawn, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't know what you can do, but he makes his own decisions along with his parents. I can give him advice, but that's about it. Like I don't make his decision. I don't tell him what to do, like none of that. So then they heard about all the people that I knew as far as like college players and high school players. And it was like, you have a good following, like, a lot of people, maybe you can, come help us out. I was like, all right, cool.
Right.
So summertime comes along, and like I said, I had just broken up with my ex, and they called me. They were like, we want you to go to Vegas for 2 months. I'm like, okay, cool. So now I have to quit my job because I can't take a leave of absence for
2
for that long.
months.
Yeah, it's too
So
long.
now I have to quit my job, and I, like I said, I have my apartment, and I still had money to pay for my apartment. I get out there. Now, mind you, this was probably, not smart on my behalf by not signing any paperwork or contracts or anything like that.
Oh, that's a big mistake.
Yeah, so I get out there and they didn't pay me anything while I was there.
For 2 months?
For the whole 2 months I was there.
How were you surviving?
Chick-fil-A points.
Wow.
Wow.
I had a lot. I had a ton of Chick-fil-A points. that I could, go to Chick-fil-A and
Get food
for free, basically. But then also the gym that we were at, Impact Basketball, that's in Vegas. I got really close with the people there, so they kind of like gave the guys meal, but then they would give me, a meal as well.
Too.
So
Okay.
So they threw that in there. But yeah, like I was racking up my credit card. My credit card maxed out to $3,000.
Sheesh.
I was behind on my
Bills,
apartment bills,
yeah.
all the other bills that I had. So by the time I came home, I was like $5,000 in the hole.
Oh no.
So yeah.
Yeah, take a deep breath.
Yeah,
That's
it was
taking you back
lot.
to memory lane.
It was a lot. And then I had a rough at home life. So it was a lot. It was a lot going on. Like
Low.
So
Yeah.
it was like, there was a point where I had suicidal thoughts. I was just like, you know what? I don't even want to deal with any of this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So I called my aunt, who's a pastor. She was just telling me some stuff like, God doesn't make any mistakes. So as long as you
That's
keep, as long as you keep your trust in Him, and you'll find a way. So then I started doing pro runs. So I started having guys come in and play basketball, NBA guys overseas, and I just called it KR3. Just KR3 pro runs.
Okay.
But then I had like a bunch of people, telling me, man, you can do way more than what you're doing. I'm like, okay, what? Like, what can I do? Nobody really gave me any ideas or anything like that. Like, and that's another thing too. Like, growing up, nobody ever
A blueprint.
did this. Nobody ever handed me anything. So I always had to figure out everything on my own. So when I started doing the pro runs, I started thinking broader. Like, what can I do with this? So that's when I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll start a management company. It's still in the works, but it's been a long process. Then I was like, well, maybe I can start a high school tournament. So I was like, what about Thanksgiving? So I started planning that out. So now it's just becoming this, I wouldn't even say global thing, but KR3 is
a
definitely,
movement.
yeah, it's building more than I thought it would over these past 5 years.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's amazing. You don't look like what you've been through, honestly.
I try not to show it, just because I tend to show it for a lot of people, and I have to show it for a lot of people.
Right.
But I do take the time out to really like hone in on myself at times. Like there's times where I'll be driving in the car crying, and I don't even know why. I actually was listening to a song. Like,
Yeah, me too.
I listen to
memory lanes.
because I listen to the first 30 minutes to an hour. I listen to gospel music, like 30 minutes to an hour every day. So I can be listening to a song and it just brings me back to whatever happened.
Right.
So yeah, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't a aha moment. It was like
A want.
yeah, exactly. I got to figure out something. I need to do something. So
Something got to work.
yeah, something got to give.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Thanksgiving event. That's yearly, right?
Yes, I had my
Gotcha.
first one last year.
Hey, congrats. Okay, let's clap it up for that.
Appreciate you. Just finished getting all the teams together for this year's event last week. So now it's, the process of finding hotels for, a couple of the teams that's coming from out of town, sponsorships. So if anybody wants to sponsor the KR3 Mental Health and Sports Thanksgiving Invitational, come on.
It's funny because that was one of my questions. I was about to ask you, like, what was the response from people, like the players, the coaches, and people in your circle? And do you have any sponsors that sponsored the previous event?
So last year's sponsors, one of my good friends, Mike Tober, who used to play for the Carolina Panthers. He owns Rockbox in Blakeney.
Okay.
So he sponsored. I do a mental health seminar on the second day of the event for all parents, players, and coaches.
Okay.
So I went out to Krispy Kreme Donuts, and I'm not gonna say like they sponsored it, but they did send 12 dozen donuts
That's good.
for the seminar.
Okay.
I had Indulge Water last year. They came in, set up a tent inside the gym, and gave out water to people.
Okay.
They're actually from Maryland, matter of fact.
Indulge Water?
Indulge Water, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to look it up.
I don't know
You
if
know
they're
about it?
still in business. Yeah, I don't know if
Indulge
they're still in business
Water.
right now, but I know they're from the Maryland area.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, we're going to look it up.
Yeah. EA Prep Stars, my brother-in-law's AAU team. They're sponsored by New Balance now, so he sponsored. Who else? Hoop basketball. A guy named Wes Robertson, he sponsored last year. So I had a few sponsors.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, that's good. Especially
but-
for a first event.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
And
lot of
I
support.
had about 4,000 people show up.
For real?
Over
4,000.
course of 2 days, yeah.
Can I get a
Ah,
that's
Yeah.
4,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
And
people.
that's with like only Instagram and Facebook promo. Like no radio
Wow.
promo. Like I know people on the radio and I know people, you know, that does stuff like that, like with blue checks, but they don't.
It can't pull the same amount of.
It's all right though, you know. We make it happen.
That's a gift right there.
Yeah,
right.
That's a lot of people.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you are covering what? The first 2 therapy sessions, right? For athletes that cannot afford it?
Right. So so the revenue that I get from like the gear that I have that I sell, the tickets that we sell for the event, I use about I can't even say I keep all of it. I use about 80 to 90% of the funds to help pay for any student athlete that wants
Okay.
to use KR3.
Oh, wow.
They go to their therapy session. So I'll pay for like the first 2 therapy sessions. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. That's,
80%.
that's a lot.
Yeah. So I don't even the money that I get
Big
from
sis
it,
is proud.
yeah, like the money that I get from it, I still have money left over from last year that I haven't even touched.
Nice.
That I haven't even touched.
So you have good money management skills too.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know,
I
some people
never-
that money can't sit in the bank account for too
I
too
know.
long. You gonna
Not with
splurge.
those Las Vegas trips.
Yeah. But see, I don't really spend money in Vegas. I don't go anywhere in Vegas. Like when I'm
He's
in Vegas.
disciplined.
Yeah. When I'm in I've been to last year I was in Vegas. I was there for 2 months. And then I went back a week later for 2 weeks. Then I went back a month later for like 3 or 4 days. I don't party, like I don't, I don't
Yeah.
smoke, I don't really drink like that unless it's like some Moscato or something. But other than that, like I don't really spend money unless it's on shoes.
Yeah, you said you bought like 4 in 8 days or something. Yeah, you got a shoe addiction here.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's by the way. So you form a lot of powerful connections in the industry, right? From Floyd Mayweather to Mario
Chalmers, yeah.
Chalmers.
Chalmers.
You
So
can't beat me at one-on-one.
so how did you build these powerful connections, and how do you maintain those relationships?
I'll start with Mario. He's my cousin, actually.
Oh, okay.
So growing up, my grandmother always told me if anybody had the last name Chalmers, they were somehow related to us. So when I found out Mario was playing at Kansas, I was like, oh, that's my cousin.
Chalmers.
Yeah, he got the last name Chalmers. My grandma said, you got the last name Chalmers, we related, so you my cousin. So, but once he got to the NBA, like I kind of hit him up on Twitter, and he would respond back here and there, and then I guess his dad told him that we were somehow related, and we got in contact, and I want to say it was like 2012 when the NBA lockout happened. He took me to CP Chris Paul's charity event, and that's where I met Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony. I already knew Steph Curry because I grew up with him. Had a conversation. Well, I met Kyrie Irving. Like I met a lot of people. But then after that, like our relationship kind of just fell to the wayside. Like I didn't hear from him, like anything. But it wasn't until that his dad was recruiting my nephew. So it brings it back
came
kind
back.
of full circle.
Yeah.
So that's when he hit me up. He was like, "Yo, fam, like, what's up, cuz?" Like, and then ever since then, this was what 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Y'all
And ever
been
since-
locked in.
like literally like a big brother. Like, call him anytime, like, whatever. Like, just text me yesterday or the other day. Hey, you coming to Chicago for the Big Three? Like, I don't know, bro. I got stuff to pay for. Like,
Yeah.
I got stuff to pay for. But nah, like Mario's been like he's been an amazing person for me because, like I said, I've met a lot of people through him.
Wow.
Now, I'm not gonna say like Mario would be like, oh, hey, this is my cousin KJ. He does X, Y, and Z. He's like, no, this is my cousin KJ. No, you
You
figure
go-
out, yeah, you
Yep,
figure out the
yep.
rest. You figure out how you can
You can connect with people,
them and
network.
you do that. And at first I'm like, damn, bro, like you can't just do it for me. But then I had to think back, like I've never had anything handed to me anyway, so I might as well just he's putting me in a position to do it. I got to do it.
Right, right.
So and then along with Floyd, like it's crazy how I met Floyd because I was at NBA Summer League. Golly, watching my nephew play. Literally watching
Your nephew again.
It was a game before my nephew was about to come on and play because he was playing for the Charlotte Hornets G League, Charlotte Hornets Summer League team at the time.
Your nephew is a blessing.
Very much so, very much so. He was my little brother before anything else, before a nephew. So I was sitting courtside. Shout out to Chris Smoot who got me down there because I didn't have a ticket to even sit down there. I just had a ticket to get into the game. I knew one of the players. They were like, "Here, KJ, here's a ticket to get into the game." Got into the game and we walked down the stairs like we owned it. And that's what I tell a lot of people too. Like if you walk into a situation or a building, like you own it, nobody's gonna ask you any questions.
That's true.
So that's exactly what we did. We walked down there, sat courtside. Chris ended up leaving, but I stayed because, like I said, my nephew was playing the next game. Floyd he came in with his entourage. His manager, Kichi, at the time, rest in peace to her, she died a couple years ago. Some of his bodyguards came in, and like I said, he sat right beside me. I looked at him, and when I see celebrities, like they don't
phase you.
They don't phase me because like
You've been around them.
Your family, yeah.
But at the same time, it's like all you have over me is money. Like that's it. And you've played
and fame,
and you've been on TV. That's
true.
it.
Yeah.
So I looked at him. I was like, I just want to congratulate you on the career that you had, and everything that you're doing. And that was literally it. He was like, bro, like nobody's ever said that to me. Like everybody always asked me for autograph pictures and everything like that, but nobody's ever, said congratulations. He was like, we should do that more often. Like we should congratulate people more often on things that they've done.
Right, right.
I was like, well, I see you as a regular person. And that's exactly what I said. His response was, I'm not regular. I'm 50 and up. I'm Floyd Mayweather. I'm not regular. But I'm like, bro, no, you're a regular person to me. Like, you're just a regular person to me. And you're shorter than me. So you're definitely a regular person. I'm not that tall. And you're shorter than me. So you're definitely a regular person. But then we ended up having a conversation about like management stuff, trying to start an agency and stuff like that. And then right before he was about to leave, but I told him my nephew was about to play, and I was like, yo, stay and watch my nephew for a little bit. He was like, all right. He was like, all right. So he sat down and stayed and watched him play until halftime at least.
Oh,
so
that's nice.
Yeah. So we were having, like I said, we were having more conversations after that. And then right before he left, I was like, before you leave, let's get a picture.
Right.
We took a picture, and then 5 minutes later, he went and talked to some more people, like the owners of NBA Summer League and stuff like that, who also I know them as well. Warren Laguerre, who's been a good friend of mine over the course of these years. 5 minutes later, he comes back. He was like, yo, Kay, did we take that picture? I'm like, yeah, bro, we took the picture 5 minutes ago.
Oh, he forgot.
Yeah, he forgot. So, but right before he left, I was like, yo, let me, let's exchange numbers. Maybe we can keep in touch, blah, blah, blah. And ever since then, we've been
locked in again.
Yeah.
Wow. So you make connections easily, like just your personality. You're just naturally.
It's the laid back attitude.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to know, okay, so what are some valuable lessons that you've learned from both your cousin Mario Chalmers and your family friend Floyd Mayweather? At least one from each of them that you've learned over the years.
From Mario, he's not really a talker. He just get things done. So I guess I'm kind of the same way. Like I don't really talk much. Like if somebody asks me to do something, I may not even tell them I did it until it's done.
Right.
Like I may not even tell them like the process of how I got it done or when I got it done or when it was done. It's like you asked me to do it. Here's
execute.
The finished product. Yeah, here's the finished product. From Floyd, probably the biggest one that has stuck out to me is if you're gonna have people around you and they're gonna do something, make sure they do it and don't deviate from it or go outside the lines.
Gotcha.
Because once they go outside the lines of doing something that they weren't supposed to be doing, now they're at fault. They're at fault for doing it.
Right.
But if you're doing it within the lines that I told you to do it at, then I'm at fault for it because you're doing exactly what I told you to do. So that goes into the management side of how I do things. Like if I'm asking you to be here or be somewhere at a certain time and you don't do that, then that's not gonna only look bad on me, but it's gonna look bad on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if I asked you to stop at the store and get me some sour mambas before you go to this interview and you're late, then that's on me.
Yeah.
But as long as you're staying within those lines of doing everything that you're supposed to do, and that goes into a sport that you play, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, whatever.
Right.
As long as you're doing exactly what the coach tells you to do,
Then you good.
you're going to stay out there.
Okay, I like that. Those are some good gems, honestly.
they are.
Yeah, anybody watching can relate to whatever, not just even sports, just in life, honestly. Feel me? Yeah.
That goes to the Bible too, though. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
God can tell you, God can bring something to you in a dream or driving down the street or something like that. You deviate from it, the vision
not
that
on
you
him.
had,
Yeah.
it's
Yep.
not gonna happen for you.
Okay.
That's not on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, let's talk about your legacy, both on and off the court, right? What is it, something that you want young athletes to remember from your journey?
It doesn't even have to deal with basketball. It's just me being a good person. Because that's the one thing that I've told a lot of kids over the course of the years that I've started KR3 is just continue to be a good person.
Right.
Like no matter good situation, bad situation, how they made you feel or whatever. Because just being a good person can open up doors for you that you never thought could open. And that's just a testament of how I've been. Like I've always been a good person to anybody that I've met. Because people always say like, oh, bro, how do you know Floyd Mayweather? How do you know Michael Beasley? How do you know this person? How do you know that person? I'm just like, bro, I'm just a good person. Like that, and that's it. Like, that's it.
I can testify.
Yeah.
You're a good person.
Like, that's it.
From my interactions with you, I could tell that you're genuinely nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to be. I don't have any foes or I don't have any, as what these young kids say, ops. I don't like I don't have any of that stuff because I just try to be a nice person to everybody. So yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Very simple. Just be a
Yeah.
good person.
That's it.
For anybody
That's
watching, just be a good person.
That's it.
Quote by KJ Ross.
That's it. Yeah.
So I know you have a clothing brand, right?
Yes.
What is it called?
It's the same thing. KR3 Mental Health Sports.
Okay.
And I want to say too, the plus in mental health
Yes.
plus sports is actually a cross.
So that is God in between mental health
okay.
and sports.
Right.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I see it.
Bringing it together, like bridging the gap between mental health and sports, but also keeping God first in it.
Okay. So you're very spiritual. Okay.
Got a lot of pastors.
In your family?
Lot of yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Aunt, brother-in-law, granddaddy, long time pastor. Yeah.
So what made you like start the clothing brand? Like how did that even happen? Like did you start the clothing brand at the same time you did the Thanksgiving event, or was it like after?
No, it was before. It was
okay.
before. Yeah. So matter of fact, no, that's not my first shirt. I did a celebrity game.
Okay.
I had a few people from the Big Three versus all stars from like North and South Carolina. So I made a shirt for it. But my slogan for things that I do at KR3 is all I need is a platform. I can figure out the rest. So as long as I have a platform, I can figure out the rest. So that was the first shirt that I made. I just put my logo and then I put that on the back, and that was it. And then
I like that.
yeah.
You still got that?
No. I only made one. Like nobody asked for it. Nobody asked for it. So I never made anything else. And then
Bring that back.
So I made. I just started making random stuff. Like I literally, like I would either be in the shower or driving down the street. Because I also did Amazon Flex at the time too. So when I was doing Amazon, like I would just be thinking to myself, like I shouldn't be doing this. Like I would be crying doing Amazon, like bro, I should be doing something else. Like I have a degree, like I know all of these people.
What's your degree in?
Sports management. I wanted to do psychology, but when I went to Johnson C. Smith, like I was playing basketball, I was like, I don't want to overload myself with playing basketball, working part-time, having a girlfriend, and I was helping coach as well.
Okay.
So I was doing a lot, like while I was in school. So I was like, I don't, but then I started making other stuff. Like I would go to my sister's house, and my other sisters, like both of them have a cricket machine. I was like, you know what? I have this quote that I want to put. I have this quote. I'm just putting on a shirt. So that's what I did. And then when I made this one, I was literally in the shower. I was like, you know what? It's okay not to have a good day. I was like, okay, it's okay not to have a good day. Smiley face. So on the back of this shirt, it says, it's okay not to have a good day.
But that's what it says?
On the back of it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it says, it's okay.
Smiley
it's okay
face?
not to have a good day. Yeah, with the smiley face, but with the mental health ribbon in the middle. So it's in the shape of a smiley face.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
I thought about that, and then, other stuff that I have, like the hoodies that I have, it says, mental health matters on the back, and like all of that. So I don't know, it's just.
So you're creative too.
Yeah. I guess I'm a jack of all trades.
Master of most.
Master of a lot, yeah. Yeah. You can say
Yeah.
that, yeah.
So you did say that you're gonna give us some of the merch, right? Okay.
I got
We
you.
got you on camera just in case.
I got you.
Appreciate
sure.
that.
We appreciate that.
So how can people support you and the brand?
Honestly,
And how to reach you?
my Instagram at KJ Rossford 3, FOR, the number 3, and then I also have my KR3 page, which is KR3MHS. But honestly, like my brand and what I do really isn't for or about money, because that's what like a lot of these tournaments and camps people go to.
Yes.
They charging $40, $50, $80 just to get in.
Wow.
I'm only charging $10 just to get into my event because, like I said, money is not the
motive.
first thing that's on my mind. Yeah, it's to help these kids and help these kids understand like mental health is real.
The intention.
Yeah. So
Right.
when I was substituting at one of the high schools here in Charlotte, like I saved 2 lives. 2 of the girls came up to me, and when I talk to people, the first thing I ask them is like, "Yo, you all right? Like, you good? Like, what's up? You good? Like, you all right?" And then one of the girls was like, "No, I'm not." And we sat and had the conversation. And after the conversation, she was like, "I really want to thank you because nobody talks to me. Nobody asks me, am I okay?"
Aw.
And she was like, because I was really thinking about, killing myself. And she was like, but because of you, I'm having, different thoughts about it.
Right. Right.
So there was another girl that, kind of the same situation. So when it comes to, my brand and stuff like that, like I don't ask for money,
Right.
but it's not something that I'm not gonna be like, no, don't give it to me, because like I said,
It goes towards
money-
the cause.
Right. It goes towards these kids that, want to try therapy or see what therapy's about. I'm gonna pay for the first 2.
That's really great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. So you're literally saving lives, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a baby Jesus.
Amen.
His disciple is important. His disciple is good. You're following in his footsteps.
Yes.
That's beautiful. So what is a song that gets you out of a bad mood? When you're just feeling down?
The hymns melody.
Which one? What is that?
How does it go?
The hymns
Can you hymn it?
No. I mean, I can sing it. It's crazy. I can't even think of the lyrics right now. I can't even think
The
of the
hymns
lyrics right
melody,
now.
though. It's called the hymns melody.
Yeah, by Marvin Sapp.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't even think of it. Yeah. No, I can't even do it to y'all.
We'll listen to it later on.
Yeah. Oh boy, well, this was good. Thank you so much for joining once again. And do you have any final words you wanted to share before we wrap it up today? Maybe for people listening out there.
The only thing I can say is I'll bring it back to just continue to be a good person. keep God first and foremost, and all you need is a platform, bro. You can figure out the rest. Like, as long as you got something that you're standing on or want to stand on or anything like that, like, as long as you're being a good person to the people that you meet, everything else will fall into place.
It does.
Wow, thank you so much.
Sure.
And on that note, guys, it's a wrap. If you're watching this and you found value, please don't forget to leave a comment. You know, let us know what resonated with you today. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
Subscribe.
All right. Thank you so much, KJ.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And it's a wrap.